Hey folks, welcome back to another battle report. I know it's been a while, but I've finally gone over to a mate's house and got a game in. He's trying out his Dogs of War. He's been collecting odds and sods for a little while, and has finally put together enough from his other collections to put together a force. So I thought, instead of using my Dogs of War and confuse matters, I'll bring on the Lizardmen I'm working on at the moment. It's only 1500 points, but my Lizardmen is based at 1000 at the moment, so there's a couple of unpainted models in there that I'm working on. But I got to try them out, things like the Stegodon, which I've never tried out, so that's all good fun. It's just straight pitch battle. So on my right flank, my opponent's left, he's got a unit of duelists. These are just standard militia. They have buckler and sword, hand weapon and buckler basic setup. He's got 10 crossbowmen next to that with full command. Next up, we've got some long drawn slayers, just as their standard, and some mercenary pikemen, just in light armour. For these mercenary pikemen, he's using the halfling models from Wargames Atlantic. They are really good models. Not so much the Warhammer designed halfling, the the little round one. Very much a Hobbit inspired halfling with little hairy feet and everything, and a more natural, not quite so paunch as the Games Workshop ones. And in there, the chap with the halberd is his general captain. Then moving towards the left flank, we have a unit of dwarves, hand weapon shield, heavy armour, and the dwarf in the front right hand side there is his paymaster. He's got a wizard at the back, level 2, Law of Shadow. He managed to get Pit of Shades and the Steed of Shadows. And lumping groups fighting cocks. He's got 12 of them, full command as standard. And then he's got Bronzino and a single galloper gun. And then finally on the far hand side, he's got a unit of heavy cavalry that don't have barding. It's just heavy armour, shield and lance. So on my right flank, I have got a unit of skinks with my level 2 wizard, and he ended up with Comet of Cassandora and the second sign. Then I have a unit of 20 Saurus warriors, and in that unit is my general, who has Enchanted Shield, Sword of Might, and I think that's about it. Well, he might not have had the Enchanted Shield. I think he's got the Gleam Pennant for the 5-up ward save. And then another unit of 20 Saurus. And as we continue on, we've got a Stegodon, 3 Croc Scores, another unit of Skinks. Again, Skinks with bows actually have the blowpipes. And I have got, my mate had to lend me one of his Saurus Warriors, because unfortunately I forgot my other hero, which is a damn shame because I was in the middle of painting him and I left him on my worktop. Basically, this is one of my favourite heroes of the 6th edition Saurus. So he's a Saurus Scarvet. He's got an additional hand weapon, giving him good 5 attacks. He's got the Venom of the Firefly Frog, allowing him to have magical attacks. And he's got the Jaguar Pennant, I think it is, which makes him movement 9. And what else is he? Oh, and he's also got the light armour and the Mark of Quetzal. So that gives him +1 to his armour. So he's got a 3-up save as well. And he's just really good at getting rid of enemy chaff. I mean, really good. He'll mow through pretty much everything. He's always got points back for me. I can just leave him to run around by himself. If I do 2,000 points, I'm almost tempted not to have my general as as the old blood and have my old blood do this, because I mean, if I boosted him up with Sotek as well, the Mark of Sotek, that would give him what? As a Lord choice, they have 5 attacks basic, additional hand weapon 6, 7 attacks, weapon skill 6, hit strength 5. So yeah, really good at mowing through those light troops. So I get first turn and I move up. I move up with my Stegodon, and I was looking to see if you suffer the -1 for moving and shooting. I didn't think you did, but I wasn't sure. I looked at it. It doesn't say anything different, so I assume I do suffer it. So I'm hitting on 5s, and I managed to get the shot out. And I'm not sure if this is correct. I'm pretty sure it's a bit like works like a bolt thrower. So you line it up, and it hits every model on that line. If you manage to hit, in which case it hit the paymaster, and he managed to roll a 1 for his lookout, sir. And the bolt thrower does D3 wounds with no arm saves. By the way, it's only strength 5, so it's 3 to wound him. Wounded him, and then caused 2 wounds and killed him off. For the first turn, that was pretty brutal. If I got that wrong, anyone knows that the bolt thrower doesn't actually pick out a model like a cannon does, please let me know. And then, really to add insult to the injury, bearing in mind this is only strength 5, I managed to kill the entire line of dwarves as well. So I needed 3s on the paymaster, 4s on the dwarf behind, 5s on the one behind that, and a 6 to kill the one behind that. And I just went through them all. So that was quite a proud bit of luck on my end there. So the following panic checks, on a whole, did pretty well. Unfortunately, the pikeman unit decided to flee and fled back, as you can see. And the unit of crossmen actually fled and ran straight off the table. But other than that, no ill effects, everyone else passed. I was thinking, oh, get rid of those little halflings, you know, the archers, lump and croup. But turns out they only shoot 9. I think these dudes think they're dwarves, so there's no luck with them running off. So that was the end of my turn. No magic. I'm trying to get Comet of Cassandra off with the level 2 wizard is a nightmare. And my opponent had to Dispel Scroll if needs be anyway, so I had to just irresistible it to make sure it got off. But I did have a go and try and put it on that hill to try and blast everything off there. Other than that, I just moved up, as you can see. So over to my opponent's turn, and he managed to get some shooting off with his Bronzino's Galloper gun. He manages to bounce not only through my Croxagore but also through my Stegodon, and manages, I think, 2 wounds on the Croxagore and then 3 wounds on the Stegodon, which was slightly irritating. Moves up his cavalry, as you can see, just to block my Saurus Hero. Unfortunately, he knows my Saurus Hero, and even without seeing my list, knew what he was kitted out with, because he's fought him plenty of times, including like I think it was turn 2 Hierophant snipe on his Tomb King, so he's pretty wary of them at the moment. But I don't really mind that. With his 5 strength 5 attacks, I'm pretty sure I can get through those toughness 3 knights with what 3 up saves, so it's reduced to a 5 up saves. So I'm pretty happy with him going in against them with his toughness 4 and 3 up arm save. I'm yeah, happy with that. If I'm lucky, I won't kill them all in one go, and I can stay in combat. Because the problem is, if I charge out, I ain't going to charge in there with my skinks as well, because they'll just be taken out. So if I charge in and I do beat him and don't overrun and reach anything, he'll probably be blasted off by a cannon. So into my next turn, as you can see on the left hand side, it worked pretty well. I went in, killed off 3 of his knights. They held. I'm now in combat with him. I should be able to beat them in his turn. My skinks just move around the left flank to try and take some shots at his cannon and lump and croup. Everyone else just moved up. I didn't want to shoot my giant bow this time. I moved him up quicker. I was a bit surprised that the Stegodon actually only moved 6 in this edition. I don't know if he's moved 6 in all editions. I was kind of hoping he was a 7 just to get that 3d6 overrun and pursuit kind of thing. My Saurus all moved up. I wasn't entirely sure what to do with my Saurus here. Long Drawn being strength 4 and armor piercing really beats the crap out of my Saurus Warriors, and they've got 2 attacks each. I think maybe the only advantage, I might be able to strike first. I have a feeling we probably have the same initiative. So it's not a good fight there, and of course he's unbreakable, so more than likely he'll just beat me down. So after looking at that, I was thinking, you know what, I could probably take on the pikeman with 20 Saurus, and end up moving my general across to the other unit in the later turns, just in case I don't mention it, to try and take on the pikeman. Just feeling my odds were better there. So here we're just looking at the opponent's turn. Down the bottom there, sometimes I just do some stupid stuff. So I moved my skinks up to be able to shoot his skirmishers, thinking, you know, hitting on 6s poison, they have a low arm save, I should be able to get rid of them pretty well. Not only that, I could then stand and shoot, probably kill off a few more. They're only leadership 7, probably flee. Even if they get to combat, I'll have more models, and I should be able to blat them over time. But knowing all this, I still left my wizard in that unit. And as you can imagine, not only did I move up the previous turn, I think I did 2 casualties, but I then put myself within 4 inches, so, you know, there was no stand and shoot. I could have fled, but I thought I'd try and fight, because at least that'll give me some chance to use my wizard if they can hold in there, since the wizard's in unit. And I've made the line long enough that the wizard's not in combat for the moment. In the centre, my opponent's just moved up with his pikeman. He was waiting for them to catch back up. They rallied in their first turn and have moved up now. And on the top end, we just have the combats to go. He's done his shooting. this time, I think his cannon actually misfired this time, so didn't get to shoot. But Lumpenkrupp actually managed to kill all of the Kroxigors off. I, I've got to paint up some skink skirmishers with javelins and put in front of my Kroxigors. How I forget to do so. Actually, to be honest, they're on a hill, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I should really protect my Kroxigors a bit more. My Stegodon is all okay. The guys down the bottom, dude, my opponent, as I said, he also got a 6 and a 1 for his spell, so he's got Pit of Shades. And he managed to cast it on my Saurus units, and it's done, what, 3 casualties? Which isn't out of the ordinary, but it's the fact that damn guy keeps casting it. Bear in mind, I had a Dispel Scroll in his first turn, and I managed to stop it then. He then managed to cast it off this turn. Totally annoying. And the wizard's all the way over there, because he also managed to cast, just to really show off how good he's at casting his shadow spells, Steed of Shadows. So he got his nice 20-inch move and start march blocking my troops. And here's the combat down here that I feel really stupid about. As you can see, my wizard already has a wound on him. Not by any range. That was me miscasting, obviously trying to get, using 3 dice to get off Comet of Cassandora. That didn't work. God damn it. So as you can see here, it's all looking pretty good as we look across. My skinks down the bottom held. Nothing much going in the centre, and at the top, yeah, my Saurus hero did his job and killed off the other guys, which is brilliant because that was in my opponent's turn. This turn, I'm free reign to have my 18-inch charge, and I'm definitely going for Bronzino's Galloper guns. So back in my turn, yeah, I charged towards the centre there, and god damn. So I charged my Stegodon and my Kroxigors into the dwarves, who held but failed the terror test and fled. In the combat on the left hand side, I charged in and killed off Bronzino. This is already into my opponent's turn, because Bronzino actually was killed and then the crew held, unbelievably, which then panicked the halflings in this turn as I destroyed the rest of the cannon crew. So they're now fleeing across the board. I say my opponent has rallied his dwarves, which had fled, and I'm like, oh, it's just chaos and a mess in that top side. And over here, yeah, I lost the combat in the end. Why I thought a toughness 2, weapon skill 2 skink would stand a good chance of holding up against almost equal numbers of duelists is beyond me. But there you go. They fled and were actually caught and destroyed. So back to my turn here. In the previous turn, I'd moved my hero across. I thought going in against those pikemen will be absolutely fine. I charged my Kroxigor in against the fleeing Lumpenkrups. They only fled like 4 inches, and he ran them down, which was fantastic. Then my Killy hero went into the flank of the dwarves, while my Stegodon went into the front of the dwarves. And I used my other Saurus basically just to protect the flank of my general Saurus unit from the long drons there. So, okay, I did a little bit of math, Hammer, and I thought, well, he's got 20 pikemen. If I charge into the front of them, he's going to hit me, 10 times. He's going to wound me, a third of the time. So, say 4 wounds, I'll save half of them. 2 wounds are going to go through. That gives me some guys to strike back. I should be able to do a wound or 2 on him. Plus, my hero will probably either kill his hero or at least beat him in the combat. So, I should be up. So he actually manages 8 wounds on my Saurus warriors. And then following that, I saved 2. So I lost combat by quite a margin. Even though he did call... no, he actually called a challenge on with his unit champion against my guy. So I even had some overkill from my hero. But I could not beat it. And then I think I was like a 5 and under. And I failed my cold-blooded and fled. And I fled like 10. I was really quite impressed. And my opponent caught me up with a 10 as well. So, yeah, that was a bit of a shame, really. But that's just lost my general and my main Saurus unit block. So, in my opponent's turn, he charges his long drawn into my Saurus and proceeds to beat the crap out of them. The only saving grace is my unit champion survived and actually took out long drawn himself, which was great with his 3 attacks. And then in the north, I'm still fighting the dwarves. A couple more wounds and I'll be able to break him. Cause thankfully, the Stegodon is unit strength 8. But yeah, I've just... Oh, it was just annoying. On the first turn, I went in there. I did 6 impact hits, killed a bunch of dwarves. The frenzied chap on the side, my Scarvetin hero, he did a lot of damage as well. But they stuck. I failed my 5 under cold blooded, but he passed. I think it was like a 4 under. And he then won the combat afterwards, thanks to his ranks and stuff. And now I'm struggling to get any wounds through. So it's going horribly wrong, horribly wrong. My centre is gone, basically. There's not much I can do there at all. So in my turn, I managed to rally my Saurus. In a minute, you'll see me swap my banner out and put the banner in behind his long drons, because obviously they captured that banner and I don't have one anymore. Yeah, in the combat at the top, I auto break the dwarves finally. Thank God for that. I don't overrun with my Scarvet, mainly because he's got a 360 arc and an 18-inch charge, so I should be able to get him in one more combat. And I've also brought my what's it? Can't remember his name. Crocscore into charge. Either, to be honest, I'm not even thinking about charging the rear of the long drons. There's nothing I can do there. I'm just going to give it a go and try and get rid of those damn pikemen. My Stegodon, on the other hand, did overrun and charged the chaps and wiped him out. He's off the board, so he'll come on next turn. So he won't be doing very much at all. My opponent's turn, his pikemen charge my skinks, who flee, which is fantastic. So I've now got a flank charge with both my Saurus Scarvet and my Croxagore. He charged my Saurus Warriors with his Long Drawn Slayers. I just fled. There was no point. They're dead anyway, so I've got one more turn to rally them, and I might be able to think of some magic trick to save my arse, but I don't think so there. And his duelists have just moved in behind, try and charge something, I suppose, or just grab a table quarter. And his wizard's happily where he is, trying to cast magic with no resistance. So if you see him popping around, it's because obviously I'm down to 2 dispel dice now, and he's flying around willy-nilly thanks to his Steed of Shadows. So I get the flank charge that I wanted into the side of the pike, and I think it's because I'm in a challenge with my captainy guy against his chap. It doesn't look like I've done much. My Stegodon's come back on. My Saurus rallied, and I've just put them in the long line just to get as many attacks as I can when those long runs come in, because I'm not going to flee again, because I think he's learned his lesson, and he'll probably charge his wizard in as well, which I'm quite happy with. If he baits his wizard in, someone survives, I'm going to hit his ruddy wizard and just try and cause those 2 wounds. That would be great. But other than that, the combat was lost and my Crocscore fled, but my Storage Hero stood, which was brilliant. And that's my last turn. And then my opponent's last turn, the fight in the middle stays as you can see it. I kill off his general, but I don't beat the guys in combat. I lose combat, but he stays on his leadership. I think it was about 6 cold-blooded, so it wasn't too bad. Down the bottom, yeah, Long John's come in. My opponent, damn him. Yeah, so he does exactly what I thought he would do. He charges in Long John's and then charges in the human wizard as well, just to make sure I'd need to roll more than like a 2 to escape if I wanted to flee. So now I thought, no, I'll take it and fight it and try and kill off his bloody wizard. And in the magic phase, I think he does 3 dice and for Steed of Shadows. And I couldn't stop it with my 2 dice, and he just flies out of there. So my Saurus just end up having the shit kicked out of him by the Long Drawn Slayers. I've just got my champion left, but that was a good fight. It was a loss definitely to the Lizardmen there. Just unfortunate. I think the main turning point was that centre. How I managed to lose so many Saurus against his pike block sucks. Because I would have spent most of the rest of my other Saurus fleeing away from Long Drons, because I didn't see much point in engaging them, and that should have given me the edge to win. But the hero of the hour is definitely my Saurus, which is tooled up to go running around, taking out small units. He basically took out 5-6 heavy cavalry, which is what, 100 odd points. He took out the cannon crew and Bronzino, which is 165 points. He then, which also broke Lump and Croup, and got all their points, and then ran down, helped beat up the dwarves in the centre. So yeah, he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If I played little bit less arse on the other flank with my skirmishers and just shot his skirmishers instead of getting anywhere near combat range, it would have been all cool. I'm going to have my wizard running around as well, just to try and score points, or just to not lose points. It would be great. But on the other note as well, this also proves that I do put up videos for nagging from all my club members who seem to think I only ever put up videos of me winning. So now no one can nag. No one can nag me. I lost. I'm quite happy that I lost, and I've made a video that I've lost. So no one, I'm pretty sure, can nag me now. But we'll see when the club gets back together. Alright guys, I'll see you all next time. Farewell.